future when all the world will be judged. But I want you to get this. This prediction from Jesus here in Luke 21 is also a warning for us today that any nation, including ours, can experience the judgment of God for its sin and defiance long before that final judgment at the end of the tribulation period. I echo the words of one early American president who said, "I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just and that his justice cannot sleep forever." And for the Jewish people here in the first century, you have to understand this prediction is beyond shocking. It meant that everything they knew was going to collapse. Everything about their world was going to change. Even their understanding of Scripture was errant, and they would be held accountable. So Jesus is telling them that Jerusalem effectively holds no place of special protection for them. They can't hide in the temple. They can't continue their ceremony and their rituals and their prayers and somehow believe that God will look over them. This is the significance of his prediction here, to tell them to leave the city. That meant to leave the temple. That meant Jerusalem would be destroyed, set aside for a season. But God evidently wasn't on their side after all. Now, in the providence of God, we know from church history that this event will lead to a greater expansion of Christianity as people believe Jesus' prediction. In fact, Eusebius of Caesarea wrote in the early 3rd century that the church in Jerusalem believed Jesus. When they heard the rumbling of the Roman army, they scattered, and with them scattered the gospel. But for everyone who ignored the warning, we can't imagine what it would have been like to hear the war drums of the approaching Roman army, to see rank after rank marching toward them, as one author wrote, with their baggage trains and their catapults and their siege engines and their standard and flags waving. Once the army built that small stone wall encircling the city, was marked for destruction. Escape would then be impossible. And we know from history that Rome showed no mercy. Josephus writes that 1 million Jewish people died. Anyone trying to escape was caught and then because they ran out of wood. Inside the city, the population began to starve. Everything Jesus predicted up to that point would be fulfilled. He doesn't express remorse for the destruction of Jerusalem or the destruction of the temple, but he does express grief here in verse 23 when he says, "Alas for women who are pregnant, and for those who are nursing infants in those days. For there will be great distress upon the earth and wrath against this people." Now again, none of them needed to experience this horror. Had they believed Jesus, had they taken his word, had they believed in the prediction of coming judgment, they would have left with the Jerusalem church and found safety. Just as the world today denies the coming judgment of God, Peter writes, they mock the promise of his coming, and instead of joining the church and finding safety, they will face the wrath of God. The city of Jerusalem, by the way, finally surrendered, and the Romans killed nearly 1 million of them, the Jewish people. They then deported the healthier 97,000, the younger, shipping them off to various places where they would be used in the gladiatorial games or sold into slavery. Jesus' prediction came true in verse 24. They will fall by the edge of the sword, and or be led captive among all nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles. A glorious, magnificent, golden-plated temple, which they believed was their rabbit's foot, would be burned. Anything flammable burned to the ground. The soldiers then would literally dismantle every stone above ground, searching for the gold that had melted into every crevice of every stone. Again, this was predicted by the Lord back in verse 6. The days will come when there will not be thrown down. They keep us field surrounding them. This was shocking. I think of a more recent example of what must have been something akin to this shock. National devastation over everything a nation believed, had been taught. My mind went back to
rock stars and then groups
going undercover
at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and
still miss.
One diesel engine made an eerie sound when Papa fired it up, hit it into town. Oh, the picture in the paper show. Well, Papa's rig was buried in the local hotel. The desk clerk said he saw it all real clear. He never had the brakes and he was shifting gear. Mama was a looker, Lord, now she shined. Papa was a good one, but the devil's kind. Papa loved Mama's in the graveyard, Papa's in the pen.
You're Friday night.
Like the game Minecraft?
oh yeah
Facebook page, and for being a part of the show. You today's KFR Facebook page.
I'm gonna be like a house, like if
Come on, chill out.
Hey, Market Meatball, what's up?
Always honoring the gods of rock and roll. From Grand Funk.
Every day. Fear is not my future, you are. Sin is not my story, you are.
off into the distance, well beyond AD 70. This
that pretty much sums up economic activity observed.
focused there.
Now we're grown.
please you anywhere. Praise, give him praise, give him praise. Yes, worthy of all of the praise. Sometimes you gotta praise in the prison, cry out to heaven, shout to the swing wide. He is worthy, yes, he is worthy of all the praise. Faithful things day and night, countless reasons why I'll praise you anywhere. Every promise kept, goodness every step, each and every breath. I'll praise you anywhere. Faithful all my life, blessings day and night, countless reasons why I'll praise you anywhere. Praise, give him praise, give him praise in the highest.
Do if they're cooperative and you don't see a threat, what do you do? The out interview, the father interviewed the son. He denied making those online threats. The father said that the son did not have. What's wrong with America? We had guns in our cars when we were kids. During hunting season, during deer season, you had a rifle in the trunk of your car, whatever. We just didn't wander around the halls pulling the trigger. What the hell has happened to us? What normalizes this horrid behavior? Anyhow, we'll talk more about that in the days to come. Fight the good fight and keep the faith, my friends. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. And remember, only you can save America.
I see your true colors. colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Makes you crazy, you take it all, you got them. You call me up because you know I'll be there, and I'll see to your love side. Mama's always got a bad side. When everybody talks,
How at school?
Northeast Indiana. The Steuben County Sheriff's County Road 600 East and County Road 400 North in Fremont Township just after 1:30 p.m. on September 1st. The investigation determined that 21-year-old Daniel DeMello of Kalamazoo was going north on County Road 600 East at a high rate of speed. As he crested a small hill, he lost control of his car, going off the road and into a ditch before overturning several times. DeMello and his 17-year-old passenger, Caroline DeMello of Kalamazoo, both complained of injuries and were taken to a Fort Wayne hospital by Steuben County EMS. Both were wearing their seatbelts. Airbags in the vehicle did deploy. Indiana Secretary of State Diego Morales made stops in northern Indiana on Wednesday. Morales is continuing his visit around the Hoosier State to hand deliver local election improvement grants, with making stops yesterday in Elkhart and LaPorte counties. To more than 85 Indiana counties, safety and voter outreach projects. The counties are receiving grant dollars from the federal Help America Vote Act to go towards total election improvements and security efforts. This new round of statewide grants is valued at approximately $1 million. Previous funding has been utilized for a wide variety of improvements, such as voter outreach efforts, additional signage, security upgrades, and more. Many counties implemented election improvements for the primary election. More news is on our website at wbetfm.com. For a look at what's going on around our nation and the world, stay tuned. ABC News comes your way in just a moment. I'm Mike Stiles.
So you call your virtual insurance company to ask a simple...
More. Many counties implemented election improvements for the primary election earlier this year. More news is on our website at WLKI.com. For a look at what's going on around our nation and the world, stay tuned. ABC News comes your way in just a moment. I'm Mike Stiles.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston.
Don't like it?
The kid's obviously troubled in some way.
Just send them to the room. The classic rock station, 101.3 U-Rock.
Never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with the Indiana boys on the Indiana night. When she moved down here at the age of 18, she blew the boys away, it was more than they'd seen. I was introduced and we both started grooving. She said, I figured, baby, but I got to keep moving. With Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. I feel summer creeping in and I'm tired of this town again. I've been told you never slow down, you never grow old. I'm tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town. Oh my, oh hell yes, honey, put on that part.
necessary to change.
Oh, I've only plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile.
Concert.
Here, I got my guitar on.
Yeah. Until we
1,000 families. We've
The sun, I'm sure it'll me, and I don't know what to do.
school year for many years served as the Maple Lawn Medical Care Facility.
Buy me a boat. They call me redneck, white trash, and blue collar. But I could change all that if I had a couple $1 million. I keep hearing that money is the root of all evil, and you can't fit a camel through the eye of a needle. I'm sure that's probably true, but it still sounds pretty cool, 'cause it could buy me a boat. It could buy me a truck to pull. It can buy me a Yeti 110 ice down with some silver bullets. Yeah, I know what they say, money can't buy everything. Well, maybe so. But it can buy me a boat to float down on the water with a beer. The Powerball lotto is a scene on a hub mill. That'll buy me a brand new rod reel. It can buy me a boat. It can buy me a truck to pull it. It can buy me a Yeti 110 ice down with some silver bullets. Yeah, I know what they say, money can't buy everything. Well, maybe so, but it can buy me a boat. buy me a boat.
Anticipating something fun, and I think that that's okay.
Well, according to my calendar, the way this thing's
Beautiful anomaly. How could I be so obscene? Part of my insanity. You will never run out of ammo. You can't move that more. So
they are.
It's apple picking time.
Factor, and they put it.
Jesus, you were there faithfully.
Toby Mac, faithfully.
It's more than nostalgia.
It's hope.
We spend about 6 hours a day on social media, and they see these.
And the love, and the Greek word here is a go.
Lay your worries down.
90.3 WBCL, the family friendly morning show. Jim, Kim, and CJ, thank you for being with us for a couple hours this morning on 90.3, and have a nice looking day coming out.
Absolute.
Receive prior.
You know you could tear me apart, put me back together and take me right.
Let 'em go. I wanna learn how to say a lot more. Yeah.
act that somehow we're gonna have more to buy.
Some needs, tell me, sugar on knees, beat it up an ox, beat, grind, no street.
This was kind of surprising. Ryan says elevators. Sarah says
Poncheros and
Utility tractors.
they just kept on turning. There I was with someone else.
Mistakes. I know we were born to shine bright in a dark world that needed some light. Don't have to be afraid. Maybe we were made for these days. Maybe we were made for these days. What if the beauty isn't crushed? It just needs the hope that's inside of us. What if it's more than just where I've been?
What is on the next good news?
He helps with
And lead our music team.
Tigers losing at 10.
That's what you've been doing.
Asking me to dance, smiling that smile, reaching out your hand. Well, there's a moon for two, and I'd like to show.
Looking for some fun entertainment? Saturday night, September the 14th, come on out to the Sturgis Eagles. It's on West Chicago Road. We're going to love opening the doors for you there. 5 to 7 dinner. Show starts at 7:30. Be ready to laugh. Be ready to have a great time. Bring the family. Bring the friends. It's going to be a great time. Nani, thank you so much for coming in and having everybody that is participating participate. Looking forward to the 2024 Putting on the Hits coming up September 14th.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll be back with more in just a moment right here on Super Hits 99.3 WBET.
Life can be like a puzzle, and
This audio quickly got shared all over social media. NASA had to put out a statement this week saying it wasn't a problem. It was just the latest indignity for Starliner. This was its first flight with a crew on board, and some of its thrusters unexpectedly stopped firing as it was approaching the station. It did dock, but NASA officials decided that they didn't understand these dodgy thrusters well enough to risk sending astronauts home in it. Steve Stitch manages NASA's commercial crew program. He says once Starliner automatically undocks, it should move away from the station quickly.
After we get the vehicle back, we'll go through a couple months of post-flight analysis of the trajectory, how the thrusters perform during the final phase of flight, and then we're also already working hand in hand with Boeing to look at modifications to the system.
Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, meanwhile, will eventually get home. Their ride is a SpaceX vehicle that's going up to the station soon, though its return flight won't happen until February. In case an emergency forces an evacuation of the station before it arrives, the station's crew has jerry-rigged a couple of extra seats in a SpaceX capsule that's docked there now. Nell Greenfield-Boyce, NPR News.
This is NPR News. You're listening to Morning Edition on 102.1 WMUK.
An easy way to give back to the station that has given you so much information and inspiration over the years is by naming WMUK as a beneficiary on an existing.
You know I'm down for whatever tonight. I don't need to find things alive.
In the driver's seat.
49 the block.
This is the rocker.
We don't get fooled again.
This is the rocker.
And
Linger more.
The carnality.
Your WBCL wait over traffic traffic. There is an accident right now that's on Russo Boulevard at Clinton Street, and it's actually right next to Russo Plaza. So just make sure to be careful and slow down if you're going to be going through there this morning. Again, it's an accident on Russo Boulevard, and it's at Clinton Street right next to Russo Plaza. And when you see a traffic tie-up, give us a call on the WBCL traffic scan line at 260-469-3555.
All right, thanks, CJ. And continuing this theme of what is the story on how you and your sweetheart met, Tom, tell us your story.
Well, the wife and I met back in 1967. I was a junior high school. She was a freshman. And in choir, they used to have those bushy hairdos back then. And we used to put little paper wads in their hair. And she thought I was the biggest jerk around. A couple years later, she was dating this guy and I was dating this girl. All of a sudden, the two of them went out. So I went to pick up this Carol, and she was gone. So Kathy and I went out. And we went and played putt-putt, and afterwards she wasn't very hungry, but she had 2 cheeseburgers, 2 fries, and a large milkshake. That was July the 7th, and on July the 29th, I proposed. On October the 7th, 1967, we got married. And next month we'll be married 57 years.
So many people try to fill a void inside. So many questions, asking how, asking why. I might not have all the answers, but I've tasted and I've seen. There's a better path for Jesus. There's no going back for me. I'm gonna live the way He says to live, do what He says to do. You can choose whatever road you choose, but I'm gonna love the way He says to love, trust the way He says to trust. This world alone will never be enough, so I'm gonna walk with Jesus. I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna walk with Jesus. I'm gonna walk with Jesus. He's in the leading, that's why I follow where He goes. He's in restoring all the lost and broken souls. He keeps moving rich in
Dog Director of St. John.
Can I go see?
So we're gonna have that.
Knowledgeable team members behind you to support you. And thank you for to you and Amy and the Stauffer family for carrying that legacy on, Dana.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Bye.
I won't give up on you. I believe in anything.
D.net is many listening know how great the selection, quality, and service.
But why wait? At T-Mobile,
Save big money on supplies for your next project at Menards. From dust protection to heavy-duty construction projects, Polar Plastics has a fitting solution for you. Get a 10-foot by 25-foot roll of all-purpose plastic sheeting on sale now through September 8th. Save big on Polar Plastics products at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction according to J.D. Power. Visit jdpower.com for details and menards.com for deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Come and join the beautiful harmonies of Selah.
Friday, September 6th, 7:30 p.m., Honeywell Center, Ford Theater in Wabash.
Get your tickets for a beautiful night of inspiration with Selah at HoneywellArts.org.
The following program is sponsored by Focus on the Family and is supported by the prayers and financial gifts of wonderful friends like you.
This is Jim Daly from Focus on the Family, and thanks for listening today on Your Friend WFRN.
You have to intentionally find guys that will have intentional conversations. Aren't necessarily that comfortable, but if you find the right guys, and you ask the Lord for those guys, but if you find the right guys, they can go there with you. And they have to teach you. I had to be taught. It didn't just come to me. I'm still learning.
Well, Jim Turner thinks it's important for men to connect emotionally with others in relationship. God has designed us for relationship, but we live in a fallen world, and often that connectedness doesn't happen. Welcome to Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. I'm John Fuller.
Here's a billboard. Women are going to laugh when I say this. Many men are not emotionally connected. So I know you're laughing about that right now, saying, "Oh, you just caught up."
Newsflash.
I'm in it. I'm one of them. And this is a point of conversation that Jean and I will have at times, that she doesn't feel I'm emotionally connected, to which I'm looking at her like a deer in the headlights. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't we have dinner last night together? Yeah, that fits the criteria. I don't think that actually does. So we're all going to learn a bit today about what it means for us men to be more emotionally connected, and hopefully learn some tools that will help us to open up. I don't think our wiring lends itself to this, and we will have a spirited discussion with our guest about what men are all wound up to be.
Yeah, Jim Turner is here to share his journey and insights about how he learned to become emotionally connected. He's got a great book. It's called The Disconnected Man, Breaking Down Walls and Restoring Intimacy with Him. And we've got details about the book at focusonthefamily.com/broadcast, or give us a call.
Jim, welcome to Focus on the Family.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Full confession, so you know my brother Mike.
Yes, yes.
We never really talked much about that, but my brother called and said, "Oh, you're going to have a good friend of mine, Jim, on the program."
Yeah.
So, what's the topic? Disconnected men. Oh, great! I can't wait. But let's start there. You're saying that men tend to be disconnected. What's the definition of disconnected?
Well, I'm going to correct a little bit because it's not all men. I mean, there's some very, very emotionally connected men, but this is mostly written for women. It's kind of 50-50. Women who live with a guy that is really emotionally and relationally unavailable. I would say, and it's more of an extreme guy that you just can't get to know him. He's closed off. He's not available to share his emotions or to let you inside, primarily because he doesn't get there himself. He's got this wall up, and I describe a wall in the book that, he's got this wall he doesn't even have a combination to. He locked it down a long time ago, and all of his emotions are behind that wall. And he can get to the happy, fun ones in front of that wall, but the ones that are caused by pain or hurt or something in the past, he doesn't get to, and nobody else gets to him.
Well, let me ask you about that. One of the attributes of men, I think, we fight these wars. They talk about World War II, the greatest generation. They came home. They didn't talk about it. And part of that compartmentalization, I guess, can work to protect our emotions, maybe. But at the same time, we do close down on things that cause pain. I'm not always sure that's a bad thing. So help me better understand that mechanism that God has given us to have to do difficult things and then...
Yeah, I think that's real. And brought up Dr. Dobson. He did point that out. And so many guys have put it one way or another that men can compartmentalize, and women's brains are like spaghetti and everything touches and all that.
Well, they're connected. Have you noticed?
Yes. But
you said 14 years ago. No, I'm kidding. It's like, wow. You remember what I said 14 years ago? I locked that down a long time ago.
Right. So it's amazing, though, that created ability, I think, does exist in men. We're able to compartmentalize, but it goes too far sometimes.
Okay, so that's what you're describing.
Yeah, that's what I'm describing. Yeah, is those men who absolutely don't want to go there, or they're unaware that they're not able to go there. That's more what I'm letting out. My story was, my wife was really just done. She couldn't. I did things to show love. I didn't feel love. That was the big difference for me. So anytime you would ask me if I love my wife, I'd say, absolutely, I love my wife. I do this, I do that. In my head, I'm saying I do this, I do that, right? But if she ever tried to connect with me on an emotional level about something important, kids, her own heart, that sort of thing, it was a blank stare. There was nothing inside me that could connect with that.
Yeah, you looked puzzled.
Yeah, I did. And we had a counselor that put it this way. He said, a woman wants to look in your eyes and see her reflection.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a good statement.
Yeah. And she never saw that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't available to me. It was like, and I used the illustration in the book, it's like having a piece of equipment dropped off at your door. And no instructions, nothing. It's
Perfect.
just this nice piece
I
of
hate
equipment.
instructions.
Okay, yeah. And you're supposed to use it without any way of knowing what it's for, what it's supposed to do, that sort of thing. You've got the piece of equipment, you own the piece of equipment, you don't know what to do with it. And that's sort of how I felt after looking back on how I was.
So we have a mutual friend, Matt, who you call Matt in the book. So you're not asking him at all, but hey, Matt,
Yes.
hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I call him a velvet hammer.
Yeah, okay, and that's the point. I was going to ask you, what role did Matt play in saying, hey, Jim, you could see this a little differently?
Matt's one of those kind of guys that he's able to compartmentalize, okay, and he's able to get things done, but he also has very, very clear relational connection with Lisa, his wife. Incredible as I walked alongside him for years to watch their relationship.
They've been on the broadcast.
I learned, I learned a lot from Matt, but Matt and I were meeting weekly. I was going through divorce at the time from my first wife, and we met every week just so I could survive.
And she was the one a moment ago you were talking about who struggled with your lack of connection, right?
Eventually, it was too much for her. She couldn't live with it.
Just that space of that lack of emotional connection.
Yeah, lack of any feeling of love, or she didn't feel needed, that sort of thing. Lots of things came out in the end. But anyway, we met for coffee, and Matt sat right across the coffee table from me, and I was normal, jovial, happy guy.
Good space, comfortable space.
Yeah. You know, I'm normally pretty happy, and to put it lightly, Matt basically took his granite finger and drove it right into my heart. And
What were some of the things he said that really made
Jim,
that impact?
He said, Jim, you know what? You don't love me. You don't care about me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we'd been friends for 3 or 4 years by this time. And he said, you don't care about me. As a matter of fact, you could walk out that coffee shop door and never contact me again, and never probably think of me again, and not miss me, and go on with your life. And this was the guy, one of the guys I considered one of my best friends.
Wow.
Okay. And he's sitting across the table from me telling me, you've got a problem.
Let me flesh this out a little bit, because for the guys listening particularly who might fall in this space, I'll just throw myself in there for some odd reason, but help me understand that disconnection. I mean, what was he noticing in you? That's a bold thing for somebody, a friend, to say.
It is. Well,
so what was he observing about your actions, your attitude, your words? Why was he convinced, like your first wife, Jim Turner has a problem connecting with his emotions? What was he observing?
Yeah, good question. I was disconnected enough not to pursue that at the time, but I think what he was observing was my inability to really be transparent with him. Inability to connect with my own emotions, to be able to say, this is the way I'm feeling about something, because I was always on the surface. I was a happy guy. I didn't have to worry about emotions, so you can stay pretty happy when you're not worried about emotions or getting involved in, the deep conversations that lead to distress and pain and that sort of thing. I didn't do that.
Jim, at one level was Matt saying, and you never ask about me, Matt? It's always, we don't go to the places I'm feeling?
Certainly part of that, because I can tell you Matt was a very emotionally healthy guy. He can go to those places. As a matter of fact, Matt would say he gets kind of dark sometimes, and now I can go there with him. But he saw that I couldn't go there with him. I was just a sort of persona, like we had talked about before the broadcast, that you put on the face, and you're a happy-go-lucky guy. But I did it because I couldn't get to the emotions that other people understand as real. You know, I couldn't weep with you. I couldn't be the kind of guy that could come alongside you and really share in a great triumph or a really low time.
Yeah, let me ask you, in that context then, were there things that happened to you? I mean, listen, vulnerability pays off here. So
yes.
For me, being an orphan kid, you know my brother's story, you know my story probably. It was, you had to cope. I mean, there's no options. You know, mom died at 9, dad's gone. I'm back with him for a year, then he dies when I was 11. I'm living with my brother. And so for me, there's a coping mechanism there that I feel good when I'm on the move, moving towards something. I don't really like sitting in my pain. Now, I process that as a good thing, as a Christian thing. I don't have to sit here in my fear, my overload. I don't think Jean would see it that way. She wants to grieve with me. I don't like grieving. I want to keep moving.
That was me.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you for that diagnosis.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, so for me, it puts me in this like constant problem now about, okay, am I being healthy by moving on and being kind of joyful and happy? And it's a fruit of the Spirit. Isn't joy part of the Spirit?
Yeah.
And am I wrong for doing that, or do I need to sit back here and kind of be contemplative and go, wow, I had a bummer of a childhood.
Yeah.
I want to cry about that for a while.
I don't think we wallow in the things that happened in the past. We get past those, but the things that are happening now that grieve us, right?
Okay.
The things that, I mean, my wife and I now, I remarried, and we have 10 kids combined.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in their lives that cause us to grieve, to rejoice, to all have the whole gamut of emotions, which if I was still that disconnected man that I write about, I'd go to work every day, do my thing, come home, provide, and I'd sort of be done. I'd check out, right? And I couldn't be with my wife and kids and be in the moment, so to speak, with their emotions. But now I can sit down with them and talk about that and make sure that I hear them, because before they'd look at me and say, Dad, you're not even hearing me, right?
Well, that's interesting that there's a consistency with what you experienced. I don't know that I have felt that. I mean, most of the people I know say, oh, you feel pretty connected, if that comes up.
Yeah.
My boys would say, no, you're connected, Dad. So I don't, in terms of processing that, I'm trying to play the everyman here because of all the listeners we've got. And some guys are going, okay, I